everyone, Enrique here. Welcome to another review. We're back once again reviewing another episode of X-Men 97, and this time season 2, and we take a look at episode 2, A Force to be Reckoned with. This is the follow-up episode that also came at the same time as episodes 1 and 3. And in many respects, most people believe that this is their favorite episode, not only because we're back in 1997, because also we see more characters, more mutants, and more action sequences. And for the first time, we see a different team that is very different from X-Men. We have some of the recurring characters from the past make an appearance here, but most of the time is a brand new team ready to take the challenges that the X-Men took, but in a different way and probably a more deadly way. But it's not just that team in particular, it's also another team of mutants who are working for the government. In particular, they are working with Val Cooper, who became leader of that team, and you will know all of this in a moment. So let's talk about this episode and what it shows us during that time. So it goes without saying, the last episode, after witnessing the origins of Nathan Summers as Cable, the last ever picture of that scene, of that episode, was seeing Cable assembling a team comprised of some members, in particular Psylocke and Archangel, who are both had experience with Apocalypse. We saw that in Beyond Good and Evil, so they have a prominent role in this episode as well. So as we see the episode unfolds, we see that a group of teenage mutants are being chased down by the government. But in particular, the team that are chasing them down are X Factor. X Factor is a group of mutants comprised by the government in order to take on other challenges and other missions. Forge, by the way, was part of that team, but then he left. Now the team has little of the teammates that we saw before. The team is comprised by Havoc, aka Alex Summers, Lorna Dane, aka Polaris, Strongman, Wolfsbane, and Multiple Men. The two members that I mentioned, Forge, left, and Quicksilver is MID, and we don't know where he is. Chances are he's with his sister Wanda. We don't know what happened to him for sure, but I'm pretty sure that he left the team, assuming under the circumstances after finding out that his father was Magneto. So we have to wait and see. Also, we should also note that Lorna is also Magneto's daughter, but that's for another day. Needless to say, X Factor are doing everything they can to apprehend mutants in an effort to prevent another disaster, but they're basically government's puppets, and that's something that Jubilee feels. And speaking of Jubilee, she and Sunspot are now on the run or living on the streets. They're trying to be in hiding, but then unable to get a contact to Forge or even Cable. But that changes when Cable shows up and actually offers Jubilee and Sunspot a place in their team. And that is something that Jubilee feels eager to accept, given the fact that after all this time being with the X-Men, changing a lot and facing Bastion in the last season, she has changed for someone who used to wish to be just left alone or to have a sense of a normal life, to actually realize that somebody has to take a stand to all of these injustices. And now that Cable offered her the opportunity to be part of a team, that's where she accepts. And while Sunspot doesn't say yes, he is where Jubilee goes. And when she asks what type of name the team has, we see an opening sequences of introducing X-Force. And that is something that I found cool. This is the recreation of the opening sequence of X-Men, but this time with a different team. Now we see the members, all 5 members, Cable, Jubilee, Sunspot, Psylocke, and Archangel, all taking place. and we see different shots of other villains and other moments for each individual. So cool to see. And it was good to see that the X-Force now have an opportunity to shine in this episode. So we see now that the X-Force are in Rio de Janeiro because they're tracking down War. War is one of the horsemen for Apocalypse. They believe that he has information about what is Apocalypse up to now, given the fact that he's still around, and Cable has been using all his time and with a new arm to track down where Apocalypse is, what is his next plan, and what is he planning to do. So as we see the episode, we see that everybody changes. Jubilee has long hair. Believe it or not, the Jubilee having long hair is something that we saw in episode 5 or season 5 of the original run of X-Men, which was considered to be not a good season, but that's neither here nor there. Regardless of that, we see that Jubilee with a new hair and a new attire, as well as Sunspot wearing a new attire that they spawned from the comics. It looks very colorful and really ridiculous, even with the domino mask. But that's neither the case. The point is that the team is tracking down War, and they managed to find him, and we see how this new team operates. Not just from Archangel, but also how Psylocke works. Psylocke, I only heard a few sketchy, senses, or at the very least I saw a little bit in other forms of media, but I never saw her in action like here. And in this case, she uses her powers. She is also telekinetic, but it's more of a deadly combat. She's more direct and less, pacifistic or more subtle than Jean or even Emma Frost. More on that later. Needless to say, they manage to capture War, and they go into his mind in order to find out what Apocalypse is up to. And judging by the shot, we see War alongside another minions taking a grave to Apocalypse, and it seems that it's going to be someone he's going to resurrect. I'm not going to say who in case nobody knows who that is, but I have my suspicions it's somebody who we all know, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But needless to say, Cable decides to appoint Archangel to kill War, which is something that makes Jubilee very, very nervous and unsettled, because this is something that X-Men didn't used to do. They're not killers. They're a team of superheroes trying to bring peace to the world. But now it's a lot different, and Archangel decides to kill War. And given the fact that Archangel has the most to hate Apocalypse, given the fact that he was manipulated by him and turned into a horseman, he has more than enough reason for him to go after this guy. So Jubilee reprimands Cable, or lets him know that the methods they're using are not good, because they're supposed to be a beacon of hope. They're not like X Factor, who are basically puppets for the government, taking all mutants to custody. But that's something that Cable dismisses because this is a war and they're soldiers. But needless to say, the information they acquire from War, they lead him to see someone, in this case Emma Frost. It seems that the block of telekinetic power was something similar to her crystallized body. You see, in the last season of X-Men 97, in episode 7, Bright Eyes, we learned that Emma Frost survived the M-Day, the attack of the Wild Sentinel, and we see her in a new, different diamond form, which is something derived from her powers in comics and in other media. So Emma is running a nightclub. We all see confronting her about her knowledge about Apocalypse, about X Factor, and all other things. Emma leads them to a facility where they believe they have a lot of the things that Apocalypse is using in order to resurrect the dead. But when they think it's a dead end, it's actually a trap set by Emma, in which she called X Factor to apprehend X-Force. And what ensues is a battle between two teams. Emma obviously is uncaring. It just shows you the kind of bitch she is. I mean it in the best way possible, because I've seen Emma Frost being cold in other media. But this one is just uncaring. Literally, she's hitting on Cable, considering the fact that I know who Emma ends up with in the comics and in other forms of media. It just kind of makes her a little bit creepy. Just say. Needless to say, the X-Force manages to escape except for Jubilee. She's captured by X Factor and she's interrogated by both Havoc and Polaris. Jubilee appealing to the past of Lorna being an X-Men before. If you recall in the episode Cold Comfort, Polaris was a member of X-Men before she left with Iceman. Iceman was tired of fighting the battle of mutant liberation or mutant equality and just wanted a normal life. Seeing Lorna, who at the time was her girlfriend, all hurt was something that he couldn't stand. So he left with Lorna. They're trying to make a new life, but due to the circumstances in that episode, we see that Lorna didn't want to, stay in the dark or to not do anything. She left Iceman afterwards, and she joined X-Force, X Factor. She joined X Factor, and she started to have a relationship with Havoc. And in this case, when we see Lorna now working for the government, is making her a little bit questioned, because one of the goals for Lorna was to make a difference. But now that things have changed and without the X-Men, she realizes that it's not the same, and that she starts to gain a little bit of sympathy to Jubilee. She takes her to a jail cell, a holographic jail cell, where we see also groups of mutants, which I'm going to get into in a moment when I talk about all the Easter eggs that I spotted. But during that time, we see Cable being confronted by Sunspot, telling to Cable that he needed to assist Jubilee. Something that is making Cable sketchy, because he doesn't want to compromise the mission of finding Apocalypse. But after listening to Sunspot and his words, he decides to go back for her. Luckily for Jubilee, she's freed by Lorna, giving her 5 minutes to escape, where she uses it to escape and fight all the guards on that prison in that helicarrier. And we see an ensuing battle between Jubilee and the guards, seeing her freeing other mutants who were apprehended. We see Jubilee at the full extent of her powers, actually being capable of much more. It seems that the training that Cable, Psylocke, and Archangel put on to her and Sunspot really paid off, because she's now more capable of being in a fight. Something we haven't seen Jubilee before, but was good to see. Then we see Jubilee escaping. We see her finally, being in control of her powers, escaping with all the mutants. X-Force is there to save her and the other prisoners. They manage to escape. Something that makes Val Cooper a little bit nervous, because she's trying to convince Jubilee that they're not the bad guys, but it's to no avail. In the end, Val is trying to denounce X-Force as a group of rogues, but that is something that doesn't matter at that moment, because all that matters is that they managed to rescue a huge amount of group of mutants from the clutches of the government, and that is making Cable very proud, and it's making him remember the time where he was a young kid. And that's where we cut to young Nathan Summers saying goodbye to her parents, Scott and to his parents, Scott and Jean. We should probably mention that is something I didn't mention last time. Cable's arm was reconstructed by using the technology from Apocalypse, which was the that was made by Ship. Ship was the name of the AI program that was in season 3 of the original run of X-Men. It was called Obsession. This was the computer that befriended Beast, and she was alive and well in the future, and she manages to incorporate to Cable's arm, making her the new AI for Cable in his missions. And that is something that he uses to send the X-Men, the few remaining members from the future, back to their time. They both say goodbye. Scott doesn't want to leave. Jean doesn't want to leave. Nathan, but Mother Ascani lets them know that he is going to be well protected and trained, and one day he will become the warrior that they will need in the future. In my opinion, I think this is a subtle way to say, I'm your son's big sister now, and I'm going to protect my brother no matter what. I already said who Mother Ascani was in the last episode, so if you want to know my thoughts, check that out. But needless to say, it was good to see Nathan saying goodbye to his parents. They had a tender goodbye, and that cuts to adult Cable remembering that, realizing that yes, kids like that are tougher given the circumstances. And that is something that reminds him of why he was chosen to be a leader in the first place. That is what I found beautiful in this episode. So now let's break it down in talking about the members of X-Force. So let's talk about all of them. So we see Cable voiced this time by Chris Potter, who was the original voice of Gambit, being able to show more of leadership in this episode. We see him be able to command this new team of X members, now being a little bit more different from X-Men, but it's different from X Factor because they're a group of rogues ready to take down the challenges that X Factor is not willing to do. So I'm glad that I got to see or to hear Chris Potter give more gravitas and more dimensions to Cable, which is something that we already got in other forms of media, but not to this extent and not in a focus. Because sometimes Cable is used but in a supporting role. But now he got an episode all for him and his team members. Speaking of which, let's talk about his team members, shall we? So let's start with the youngest ones. Let's start with Jubilee and Sunspot, voiced by Holly Chow and Guy Agostini. So they are the young members showing the light of hope in this cover-ups team that is comprised by basically killers, soldiers, and assassins, of course. Because in this case, Jubilee and Sunspot represent the good aspects of the X-Men team. The hope that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that there's still 8 people that can have the opportunity to change things or to be more heroic. And this is the episode made for Jubilee because everybody have said in the past how Jubilee was diminished because of her appearances, how she was a damsel in distress or an annoying brat kid who didn't know what she was doing, or that she was too annoying and that every member of the X-Men should have just leaped her behind or somewhere that wasn't in their missions. But I will say this, in rewatching the original show for this review, especially for this episode, I never felt that Jubilee was annoying, neither unnecessary or even a damsel. For me, she was just that, a kid who was just entering into a crazy world where she got powers and everybody else who got powers were prosecuted by giant robots, other people with agendas like the Friends of Humanity, and other form of mutants who are trying to weaponize them into being soldiers. Jubilee is like Xavier said in the last episode of X-Men in the original run. He said that Jubilee was hope, that she was the future. And this episode represents that for her and for Sunspot. Now, Sunspot is, the boyfriend who is trying to be with Jubilee in the best moments and even in the dark times, trying to crack jokes and to be, supportive. That's something that a lot of people will probably find problems with. But to me, this is just what they need right now. They need to have humanity and some levity to their situations. Jubilee understands the danger and she understands what she signed up to. But she's not gonna back down simply because it's going to be more dangerous than before. Because after everything she went through, she has been a key member of X-Men. She was reminding of people, especially to the leaders, that they need to be more compassionate, more understandable. Hell, she went out of her way to tell Cyclops that Bobby Drake, Iceman, was not the enemy. Because in that episode called Comfort, Cyclops and Iceman were at odds with each other, almost wanted to kill each other, it seemed like. And for me, seeing Jubilee changing and being more, more connected to the X-Men and being able to be more around them, changed her for the better. And this episode was the representation of all those years being with the X-Men. And that is something that I like to see. Now let's talk about the adult members. I already talked about Cable, but now let's focus on the two members who are the assassin and the former horseman. In this case, Psylocke and Warren Warrington III, aka Archangel. Fun fact, Psylocke is voiced by Naoko Komori. She appeared in an episode of The Boys in the last season. So here we got to hear her be playing a character of much importance in X-Men lore. And we also see that Archangel is back and is helping our heroes trying to find out what Apocalypse is going to do. So one thing that you should know, Archangel was an original member of the X-Men. He was a member in the original team, but then he left because he was feeling uneasy with his powers, with him being a mutant. He wanted to be cured only for Apocalypse to turn him into a horseman, and from circumstances that I don't want to get into, he got freed and was obsessed by killing and destroying Apocalypse. That was his goal. And that is still his goal in this episode, because he wants to get rid of Apocalypse once and for all, as well as all the horsemen who are with him. And that is something very visible in this episode. Now, they don't have much presence. They still are there doing the action sequences and for analyzing the mission, but I'm glad that they're still around, and I'm glad to see Psylocke and Archangel be part of the opening sequence. So that to me is a lot of fun. Now let's talk about something that I found it surprising, and that is the voice actors for X Factor. Let's start for example talking about Lorna Dane, aka Polaris. I heard a rumor a year ago that Neve Campbell was supposed to be rumored to voice Lorna in the second season, but then afterwards it was clear that she was not going to be that voice actress, and instead it is actually voiced by Carolina Robasa. Now, I don't know very much about her, but I hear that she was a prolific voice actress in medias. Particularly, she was in the episode What If Kahori Reshaped the World. She was Queen Isabella of Spain, which was make more sense. But other than that, she has been using her voice in television and in video games. And in here, she has a prominent role as the daughter of Magneto, being part of X Factor. Speaking of other members of X Factor, let's talk about Havoc, aka Alex Summers. And he was voiced by Teddy Sears. If you know who Teddy Sears he is, he was the actor who plays Zoom in the Flash TV series. He was the bad guy, and I heard recently that he was in a show called, I think, Brilliant Minds with Zachary Quinto, who was an actor in Star Trek. He was Spock at the time. But Teddy Sears here is the voice actor for the young brother of Scott Summers, Alex. And he seemed to be, like the government tool that he wanted to use his team to carry on the missions that nobody else could. So in this case, it's good to hear that he has a presence here. I don't know if this is gonna lead up to him discovering that Scott is his brother, or even that Scott has a brother who is a member of X Factor, or that he's the leader, in fact, which is similar to his situation, but we have to wait and see. I also found it hilarious that Havoc was fighting essentially his own nephew, Cable. He doesn't know that that is his nephew, but that would be hilarious if he found out, like, oh shit, my nephew is actually the leader of X-Force, and my brother is Scott Summers. Oh my god, what am I gonna do? I hope this gets resolved in this season. If not, I can wait. But needless to say, it's good to see that Teddy Sears is voicing a character, an important character in X-Men lore here in this show. Now, speaking of Cable, do you remember who voiced the Executioner last season? Well, it's actually the actor Lawrence Bain, who was the original voice for Cable in the original run. Now it's Chris Potter, but here we heard Lawrence Bain once again borrowing his voice for the character War. And that is so cool. And honestly, it almost feels like a passing of the torch, the fact that Cable, the original Cable, is now working with Apocalypse when the original voice actor was voicing Cable, was hunting down Apocalypse, and now he is now being confronted by a Cable, now voiced by Chris Potter. Funny little world, isn't it? But needless to say, it's good to hear Lawrence Bain make an appearance here. Speaking of the original cast, Catherine Disher once again borrows her voice for Val Cooper. And while she's still on the opposite side of the coin, helping X Factor to capture mutants who have nothing to do with, it's still sad, but hey, maybe there's something good. Maybe she will redeem herself. I don't know, but I hope, I hope against hope that she sees the light again, or that at the very least she realizes that she's on the wrong side. Who knows? We also get cameos by, like I mentioned before, Emma Frost, who is voiced by Sarah Falsall. I hope I pronounced the name well. I don't know. But she's also a prominent voice actress, especially in the video game industry. So it's good to hear that there are a lot of recurring voice actors appearing here with season ones and with people who are celebrities. It shows you how good this show is and how many people want to be involved with this show in particular. So it's good to hear borrowing her voice here. Now let's talk about the many cameos that we got from a lot of the members of X-Men here, especially in X-Men Media, because we see a lot of members being part of this show, especially in cameos. For example, we have Jill, who is another mutant introduced in this show. And he was the kid. Jill was introduced in the comic book God Loves, Man Kills. It's a tragic story. I really highly recommend it. And he has a larger appearance in that comic book. We also get appearances of Kid Omega, who it was at one point a member, or at the very least, the second coming of the Phoenix, or at the very least he got the powers of the Phoenix. We also get Wing, Penance, Mark, I mean, we get a lot of cameos from a Generation X. If you're a Generation X fan, you probably will be happy for a lot of the cameos that we got in this episode. We also get appearances by Beak, Ano, Glob, iBoy, Sync, Dust, Nina, Chamber, Archie, the Stepford Cuckoos, Loa, Rockslide, Nature Girl, Pixie, Mondo. I mean, there's so many characters that appeared in either cameos or voiceless cameos, or even just helping out our heroes. Fun fact about Big. He, alongside, I think, I can't remember the name, I think I mentioned her before, Angel or no, I can't remember, but we get an appearance of Big, who becomes an important member, not only in Generation X, but also X-Men and the Exiles. Believe it or not, Big has a much bigger presence there. He actually gets a family with one of the members that I just mentioned before. I can't remember which one. I think it was Angel, if I'm not mistaken. If not, you can let me know in the comics, in the comment section. But needless to say, it's good to see that Big makes an appearance here. Fun fact: the Stepford Cuckoos are basically clones of Emma Frost. I don't know if they're ever gonna address that. But I saw them last time in a show called The Gifted. It was a show, a live-action show centered around mutants as well. Lorna was a prominent member in that show. And yeah, definitely we got to see a lot of cool cameos and Easter eggs. It was good to see members of X Factor. By the way, the actor for Strong Boy in X Factor was also made by Adrian Hogg, the same actor who voices Kurt Weiner, aka Nightcrawler, in this show. So it's good to hear there are a lot of members of the original run are getting the chances to play other characters and given their own unique roles. But yeah, it's good to hear Kurt or Adrian voicing Strong Guy. That's the name, Strong Guy. Yeah. But yeah, now what is the plan of Apocalypse? That is the main goal of this episode, to find out what is the plan. It seems that he's trying to resurrect people from the dead, and it's using people probably from the M-Day. I mean, remember when the Wild Sentinel attacked Genosha? Well, what if Apocalypse took the opportunity to recruit some of the members? Now, some people have already given the ideas, given what we saw on the trailers and what we saw in that episode. So I already talked about the episode 5 of that day, remember it. There are a lot of speculations. Some people are theorizing that he's trying to bring back members like, I don't know, Sebastian Shaw, Banshee. Banshee, believe it or not, was at one point a horseman of the apocalypse in the comics. We also see names like Dazzler, Magic. Yeah, I hate to say spoilers, but they show in the trailers that Magic is presumed dead. No, not presumed dead, that she died on that day, which I don't know how would it affect Colossus, considering that Magic was the little sister for Colossus, so that had to be a terrible day for him. But we had to wait and see. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, I know who it is, but I want to leave it as a surprise, because I know who that is. I just want to leave it if I don't want to jump into conclusions. But yeah, all of that, we got the appearance of that. And yeah, overall, no more to say, but this was a fun episode to see X-Force in action. It was good to see different characters taking the spotlight for once. It was good to see my favorite characters on this episode are Cable and Jubilee. Hands down. Like, I really enjoyed the performances. What's gonna happen in episode 3? Well, stay tuned to find out. So until then, I hope you guys enjoy my review. What do you think about episode 2? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to also subscribe for this channel and give a like and notification so you are updated on my videos. Thank you for watching. So I'm Enrique, and I'll see you next time. Peace.